what I would hope Amazon's legacy would be is Earth's most customer-centric company. What we have always wanted to do is raise the standard for what it means to be customer-centric to such a degree that other organizations, whether they be other companies or whether they be hospitals or government agencies, whatever the organization is, they should look at Amazon as a role model and say, how can we be as customer-centric as Amazon?
Hi and welcome. In today's video, I'll be talking about customer service. I'll be exploring the concept of customer service. We'll be looking into the future of customer service. I've brought up some examples from Gartner and other consulting companies to discuss how will the future, the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years look like when you're looking at customer service. What can we expect happening? And even more important, if these are the things that we expect happening in customer service, what implications does that have for the way we construct our IT and digital departments? With that knowledge, I'll be exploring customer service strategies. How do we set the path for crafting a winning customer service strategy? But before we get there, let's look into customer service as a function. I found this definition of customer service. Customer service is the assistance and advice provided by a company to those people who buy or use its products or services. That also means that the customer service function is not just a business unit, it's not just a silo or a department. Customer service is something that everybody in the organization is responsible for and take a leading part in. The prime tasks of customer service is to manage the experience of the customers throughout the company, not only in the call center, but throughout the entire company. And I'd like to underline this by showing this graph that I think it was first conceived by Bain & Company, but I think it's a very, very illustrative showing that even though you have one unit in your company that performs fantastically well, then if other units throughout the customer experience or the customer journey with the company doesn't perform that well, then your average customer satisfaction is dropping significantly. If you look at this example, then you have the browsing experience and the buying experience that are fairly highly rated, but the quoting experience in this case and the repurchase experience are low. And because these experiences are low, then you at the end of the day get a very low average customer satisfaction rate. And of course, I think it goes without saying that excellent or good customer service is worth it. There's money in it. Because if you are capable of providing an excellent customer service to your customers, then you will increase your customers' loyalty, which means that the repurchase rate will go up. They will simply buy again and again from you, but they will also tell about the experience. So through word of mouth, the customer trust in your company will increase, will attract new buyers. It will actually also make your company less price sensitive, so you could charge a higher premium because customers, they are trusting in your brand. And of course, when you have a high customer satisfaction and an excellent customer experience, you'll be able to cross-sell other products and services to the same customers, again increasing the sales, the overall sales. On the other hand, excellent customer service and the way that you treat your customers will also help you lower your costs. Your first-time resolutions will increase, which means that customers will not contact you repeatedly. Simply, when they call or contact you the first time, the issue is solved and you can move on. Now, taking a look at the emerging technologies that Gartner predicts will affect customer service the most, then we have at the very top artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence in terms of segmenting your customers, helping them find the right products. And the artificial intelligence goes directly into the virtual customer assistance, where it is backed, the virtual customer assistance is backed by the artificial intelligence. And the last of the most emergent trends is the omnichannel experience, where the company is expected to know the customer regardless of how the customer is contacting the company. Gartner also have a set of quite interesting predictions from the year 22 till the year 25, and I just read them for you real quick here. So by 2022, 50% of large organizations, they will still have failed to unify engagement channel. That means that half of the large corporates, they still will have no connection between customers, how they talk with the company through social media, WhatsApp, and email, and phone or call center. By 2023, 30% of customer service organizations, they will deliver proactive customer service using artificial intelligence. So they will actually reach out to the customers before the customers, they know that they're in need of whatever they're needing. And this prediction will come from artificial intelligence based on the data that the organization have of the customers. By 2024, organizations who are capable of providing a total experience, which is the total omnichannel experience, it's the experience of knowing you, the care of one segment. These companies who can do this will outperform other companies in the same industries. And if we're looking towards 2025, they have a few more predictions. They are saying that 40% of customer engagement, they will be handled without even raising a ticket, through self-service, through virtual assistants, through generous FAQs, through social media, through forums that are set up and all work together based on the knowledge, the combined knowledge that the company has about the customers, of course also products and services. 40% of customer service organizations, they will become profit centers and not just cost centers. So they will actually start to generate money for the company instead of just being seen as a cost. And this is back to what I said before with increased cross-sales, increased brand trust, increased loyalty, which turns into increased repurchasing of the products. And then there's a really interesting one, and this is 80% of companies. They will have gone away from the native apps, and they will simply be using social media messaging like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp to handle their customers' inquiries. Now for the Gartner hype cycle, and there are always a lot of various emerging trends to discuss when you're looking at a Gartner hype cycle. I've taken what I feel are the most interesting and relevant for we're looking at what will the future of customer service bring us. One of them, back to again the uses of data and artificial intelligence, is the customer psychographics. So now, instead of just looking at where the customers are clicking on the website, what products they're buying or services they're using, we'll also start to listening or noticing the tone of voice, how they talk to us, what words they're using, and based on this also even assign call center agents. So you're matching your customers with a like-minded agent to ensure a better experience for both parties. The COVID has accelerated the anywhere services, but it's going to be a trend also that both our agents, customers, and the services behind what is running the contact center or the customer service can be anywhere in the world. We're no longer confined to be sitting in one room or in one country. We can be anywhere in the world. That opens up for new opportunities to what can be done, because now we can pick and choose best practices or best experiences from all over the world. A couple of other interesting ones is the voice of customer applications. Now, with the emerging technologies and the way that technology can start listening in on all channels that the customers are interacting, then you can also start getting the voice of the customers for the various channels, which means that you get a much better overview of the sentiment or the satisfaction of your customers and what they're looking for. Building on this, you will look into advanced text analytics. And why is that interesting? That's interesting because when you start being capable of analyzing text and having computers understand this text, then you can use that to feed the artificial intelligence that in terms feed the chatbots or the voice assistants. So in other words, we'll start seeing technologies where you speak in normal language with chatbots via WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. And because they understand the text that you have in your documents, they can actually go through all the company's documents and try to put together a reliable answer to your customers without any human interaction. So if we are taking these emerging technologies that we'll see, some of them are already here, but will come between the next 2 to 5 to 10 years, depending on how the world is progressing, and pair this with a typical view on how does the customer look today. The customer of today is very focused on getting things done. They are focused on, I don't want to wait 1 second. Just think about it yourself If you're trying to open a web page and it takes more than 5 to 10 seconds, you really have to want that content to wait, otherwise you move on. That goes for the same if you want to call a company or contact a company through WhatsApp or Messenger. You get annoyed if you have to wait more than a few seconds. This is one of the things that we have to take into consideration when we're crafting our customer services strategy. Customers, they contact corporations or companies because they want something done. They don't want long stories. They simply come to you with a problem or an issue or a service request, and they just want the answer here and now. And they want to be able to reach you through any channel where they are. They don't want to go to a branch. They don't want to call a specific number. They simply just want to open WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or whatever is convenient and contact you immediately and respect response from you immediately as well. All that boils down to what McKinsey they call white glove service. This is going to be the new norm, and digital and technology is going to enable it, because we do not need a one-to-one assistant anymore. We can have the computers taking care of the white glove service. We can have the computers use artificial intelligence to pay attention to detail about the individual user. We will have the computers making sure that everything is going extremely fast, and we can add a human element when the artificial intelligence tells us this is important that you call the customer here, because we can, from the sentiment or the words that the customers are using, we can see that this customer is frustrated or have a strong signal of buying more. So we suggest that you should add this value and call this specific customer. And whenever you interact with the customers in the white glove service, then you have to make sure that everything that you're doing is tailored to that specific customer. I think you can talk about the segment of one, or the care of one, where each and every customer is an individual that expects to be treated as an individual and not just someone in the same segment as others. It is all about understanding and anticipating customers and customers' needs. It's about preventing issues before they're even happening. It's about using the data that you have, the history that you have, to predict what's going to happen and prevent it even before it happens. It is about contacting the customers before they even know that they need to contact you. This is what customers, they start to expect. So we are looking into a hyper-personalized care of one. We are looking into turning the cost center into a strategic advantage, because if you're capable of doing this, you will outshine your competition. Just remember that Gartner predicts that next year only half of the large companies, they're capable of connecting all their channels into one. What does this hyper-personalized care of one mean when you turn your attention to the company's digital department or IT department? It means a lot, actually, because it means in order for you to give a personalized care of one, you must understand your customers very, very well. In order for you to understand your customers very, very well, you need to have, I'm not saying complete, but close to complete control of the data that you have and how you're using those data. So the digital IT services in a company, they need a strong master data strategy. They need a strong data quality function, ensuring that the data that you have about your customers is the right data. And it is data that you can use, you're allowed to use, but you also need to have the systems in place that are capable of running the analytics on the data, that are capable of predicting and using the data, so you can actually tailor the products to the customer, so you can actually predict if a customer is going to lapse and don't want to be a customer with you anymore, so you can predict if a customer is about to buy one of your products or could be about to buy one of your products, so you can contact that customer. You need a superhuman agent. You need to have artificial intelligence and all the tools required to empower the agents that are actually talking or writing with your customers. The better the agents are equipped through artificial intelligence to help your customers, the more care the agent can put into the conversation, because he or she do not have to worry about the details of what to do. The system will tell, so the agent can spend all the time on the emotional side of this interaction, which will increase the customer satisfaction considerably. A good question could be, okay, how do we enable all this? Well, in my experience, and when I'm reading what all the large consulting firms they are saying. They're talking about creating the digital center of excellence. They're talking about creating a department that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible, that are asking critical questions into everything. Do we have to do this? What happens if we do this? Why don't we do? And all this, it is a department that is geared or wired to think big, start small, learn quickly, and scale fast when they find what works. And all these things are super relevant to have in the back of your mind when you're crafting the strategy for your customer services.
I'm sure that there are some things OpenDoc does, probably even more that I'm not familiar with, that nothing else out there does. And I'm sure that you can make some demos, maybe a small commercial app that demonstrates those things. The hardest thing is, how does that fit in to a cohesive, larger vision that's going to allow you to sell $8 billion, $10 billion of product a year? And one of the things I've always found is that you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology. You can't start with the technology and try to figure out where you're going to try to sell it. And I've made this mistake probably more than anybody else in this room. And I've got the scar tissue to prove it. And I know that it's the case. And as we have tried to come up with a strategy and a vision for Apple, it started with what incredible benefits can we give to the customer? Where can we take the customer? Not starting with, let's sit down with the engineers and figure out what awesome technology we have, and then how are we going to market that. And I think that's the right path.
Crafting a strategy, any strategy for that matter, for me consists of three things. First, you have to create the why. Why is it that we're doing this? Why is it that we're having a customer service function, for example? The next part is, what is it that we have to deliver so we can reach the why of this strategy? And then at the last, how do we actually do it? The why to me is the reason to exist. What is the reason for a customer service function to exist? What is the reason for a company to exist? When you have this, you can start saying, okay, what experience would you like your customers, your employees to have? And what does that make our product or services look like? When you have your why, you have to find out how. From a customer service perspective, I found this matrix from Gartner, which I think again makes a lot of sense. You are simply splitting the different things that you intend to do into the value of the customer for you and the value of your business to the customer. So for example, if you have a customer who is very dependent on your products, so the value of your products is very high to this customer, but it is maybe a low value customer to you as a company, then you would most likely promote self-service functions to that specific customer segment. And this is your line of thought when you start to think, okay, how do we tailor specific services to specific customer segments? Again, you need to use your data, and again, you need to use artificial intelligence to understand what customer segments you're working with at that specific point. After completing this matrix, the next step is, okay, what do we have to do? And when we look into what do we have to do, it's always a good idea starting by defining what does success look like for us. And you can define this by a set of metrics. I have here a list of metrics that I could suggest that you use to measure to what extent that your customer service strategy is a success. It could be return on digital investments in your customer service. So whenever you invest in your digital capabilities, in your data manipulating capabilities, you can say, okay, this is an investment, and how do we measure the return on this? Do we actually increase our customer loyalty? Do we increase our cross sales? You can look into how fast can we get new advancements to the market. You can look at your ability to attract top talent. I believe skilled employees is absolutely crucial to do anything about this, because we're talking about breaking new ground, we're talking about digital, we're talking about organizational change, we're talking about so many things that have to go hand in hand to work. So you need to have the best possible talent within your organization to get this to work. So your capability of teaching or developing in-house talent or attracting talent is exceptionally important. Another thing is the percentage of the leaders' incentives that are linked to this success. That could be the net promoter score of the customers. That could be the level of self-service that your customers are doing, because the higher the self-serve, the less people need interaction with you directly, which reduces your costs and increases customer satisfaction and so forth. And then I found a really interesting one, which is called customer effort score. So this is a score of how difficult is it to deal with you as a company? How difficult is it to return a product? How difficult is it to file a complaint? How difficult is it to use your services? How difficult is it to buy the product? All these things can be combined into a customer effort score. And I think we will see much more of these kind of scores in the future, because this is really what is driving customer satisfaction. I hope you enjoyed this crash course in customer services, operations, future and strategy. And well, go out there and create a winning customer service strategy. Best of luck. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Much as customer service matters to the Virgin brand, Virgin is one of the few companies, I'd include Southwest Airlines and Danny Meyer's Union Square Hospitality Group, as a place that puts employees first. Why does that matter to you, and why does that tend to result in better customer service?
It sort of should go without saying, and it's surprising that that it still doesn't go without saying at some companies. I mean, if the person who works at your company is 100% proud of the job they're doing, if you give them the tools to do a good job, you know, they're proud of the brand. If they're well looked after, if they're treated well, you know, then you know, they're going to be smiling, they're going to be happy, and therefore the customer you know, will have a nice experience. If the person who's working for your company you know, is not given the right tools, is not looked after, is not appreciated, they're not going to do things with a smile, and therefore you know, the customer will be treated in a way which you know, where often they won't want to come back for more.